from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. This is the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. My name is Steve Kelly, and I will be your host and guide during this Class D North match doubleheader between today's challengers, Todd Holbrook at Trafton and Chyrel Kneeland at Sarah Wright. Good as always to have you along with us. Originally live streamed on Wednesday, May 8th, 2024, and available for rewatching anytime upon the conclusion of this match. That's Todd Holbrook on the right on the green and Trafton on the left in the blue on lanes 21 and 22 in Nashua, New Hampshire. Todd Holbrook missing a spare. He's shooting at the 2, the 5, and the 8 pins. He'll settle for a 9 box for his opener for this first of 5 in this 5-game series, and win, respectively, will take a 6 box. If you're new to the ACST or Candlepin bowling in general, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to you and hope you enjoy this match as well as Candlepin bowling as a whole. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. Your continued viewership is greatly appreciated. That's Todd Holbrook dropping an 8. He drops all but the 1 and the 9, and Trafton with a strike, an early strike to start out to establish early dominance in this match. We have Todd Holbrook against the 1 and the 9 pins for a spare that he's shooting at, and he attempted to get it, couldn't quite get it. He's left with just a head pin for a 10 box now. Todd Holbrook, our way bowler tonight. Todd Holbrook with a season record of 67 and 171. He takes a 10 box. Todd Holbrook has a home record of 39 and 87 after 9 matches played, and an away record of 28 and 84 with 8 matches played. His season average is 92.3, with his home average being 92.9. That's plus 1.2 away from his away average of 91.7. That's Todd Holbrook on the right, firing, dropping 6. And that's Trafton filling a strike. And he fills it with 6, fills it with 7, fills it with 8, and another ball. So we now have Todd Holbrook versus the 1, the 2, the 4, and the 8 pins on the deck. Trafton, meanwhile, is against the 1 and the 10. Todd Holbrook will miss his spare. Trafton will be shooting for a spare, and to conclude a strike fill. 8, 9, or 10 fill for Trafton here. It's going to be a 10 fill and a spare for Trafton. Spare on strike for our home bowler tonight. And Todd Holbrook will take a second 10 box of the evening and the second 10 box of the game. Trafton with an early 36 after 3 with 2 marks in a row with a spare on strike. Here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, this doubleheader tonight, we have Todd Holbrook versus Trafton. Starting out tonight is, again, Todd Holbrook and Trafton. We will have Chyrel Kneeland and Sarah Wright on the approaches shortly after. Todd Holbrook on lane 22. He'll take down 7. He's off to the left of the head pin. Trafton filling a spare. Let's get a closer look on this ball as it comes in. Comes into view. He drops 7. That'll be a 7 on Trafton's spare. Holbrook for his spare, 1, 3, 10, and he'll take it. That's a spare for Todd Holbrook. 39 plus a ball after 4 for Todd Holbrook. Trafton on a difficult 2, 4, 6 spare. Spare leave, that is. He'll take out the 4, leaving the 2 and the 6 for an 8, 9, or 10 box. And we'll see what Trafton here can cook up. All he does is Trafton. That's a 9 box for Win. And Todd Holbrook starting out with a 7 drop. Todd Holbrook versus the 3, 4, 6. Trafton firing on the head pin. Late falling 6 drop. 3, 6, 7, 10. 3, 4, 6 for Todd Holbrook. Takes 1 out, leaving the 3 and the 4. No spare for Todd Holbrook. Trafton for the 3, 6, 7, 10. And he will take 2 more out, leaving the 7 and the 10 with a piece of wood dangling around. And we have Todd Holbrook taking out the 3 for 9 box. And that was a 7 on Holbrook's fill, that is, on his spare. And a 9 box for Win Trafton. 2 high-powered halves. We have 55 after 5 for Todd Holbrook, and we have 61 after 5 for Win Trafton. And we might be on a brief pause here. Alrighty, folks, so we have one slight technical difficulty just outside of our control. We're just going to probably wait on just before we begin Chyrel Kneeland and Sarah Wright's match. In the meantime, I can tell you a little bit about the ACST and the match tonight. So tonight it is a doubleheader. We have the number 14 seed Todd Holbrook against Win Trafton, the number 2 seed. And then we have our away bowler in our second matchup for the night, Chyrel Kneeland, the 11th seed in the D class, D North, against Sarah Wright, the number 5 seed. And Win Trafton and Sarah Wright in particular are in playoff contention. I'll show you what I mean by that with this little visual here. So we have Sarah Wright at the top of the wild card standings, the number 1 seed in the wild card, and 5th overall in the full standings. Meanwhile, we have Win Trafton, who is a division leader in D North Division 1. That puts him at the top of his division, but it also puts him as number 2 seed overall. The 4 division leaders are in the playoffs automatically. And meanwhile, we have Todd Holbrook. That's the one at the bottom. My apologies, my graphic for Todd Holbrook didn't slide down a little bit far enough. We have Chyrel Kneeland and Todd Holbrook, who are technically eliminated from the contention for the playoffs, whether it's wild card or division leader, but they can definitely still impact things in terms of other players getting into or out of the playoffs, particularly wild cards or division leaders or whatever it is. So, and of course they can also bowl for superlatives, as we also will award things for like most strikes, most spares, most 10s, perfect box percentage, high series, and all of that. So there's definitely plenty of reason to continue bowling. We are in week 18 of the 18 match season. So the way this works is the ACST match format is, again, 5 strings. It's head-to-head. Some are double headers, some are just 1v1. In tonight's match, it'll be a double header. We have Win Trafton versus Todd Holbrook and Sarah Wright versus Chyrel Kneeland. And what they do is they bowl box for box, and it's a scratch match, no handicap. They bowl for points. Each string that is won, that is not a tie, results in 2 points. Each bowler will receive 1 point if they tie. And then at the very end of the 5 games, for greater total pinfall, there is a 4-point prize that is awarded to the bowler taking greater total pinfall. And if they tie, of course, they will take 2 apiece. It's just split in 2. And again, 18-match season. We are in week 18 for our 4 bowlers tonight. So this is the end of their regular season. Think of it as like game 18 in the NFL, that sort of thing. And again, the division leaders are automatically in the playoffs, and there are 4 wildcard spots for the runners-up that also get seeding in the playoffs in brackets, and it's based on points. So that's the way that all works. So we'll zoom in on a few of our bowlers tonight. We have Todd Holbrook. Again, he has a record of 67 and 101, and when he's at home, he's 39 and 87, and when he's away, he's 28 and 84. He's bowled 9 matches home, 8 matches away, 0.44 win-loss ratio when home, and 0.33 when away. Again, season average 92.3, home average of 92.9, and away average of 91.7. 1.20 is the difference between the two of those. His home average is better than his away average. All of our bowlers are technically bowling quote-unquote home tonight, so the home and away specification is basically a formality. All right, folks, sorry about that. So we're still just waiting on Chyrel Kneeland is just having some difficulty getting here, so she will be here shortly, so that's why we're just stalling a little bit. In the meantime, we're going to actually just have Win Trafton and Todd Holbrook continue their first game, just so we don't stall any further and I don't bore you too much with any additional stats while we wait. So we'll get right back to the action here. We now have Win Trafton on lane 22 and Todd Holbrook on lane 21. And to recap, Win Trafton had a 2-mark first half at 61. Todd Holbrook with a 1-mark 55 half. So that's a 6 fill. Nope, no fill for anybody, excuse me. We have Win Trafton against the 4 horsemen left side, and he's going to shoot for a spare. Nearly gets it, but doesn't quite. and neither will Todd Holbrook. For that matter, we have Win Trafton versus the head pin versus the single pin captain, but it'll take a 9-box because the captain will stand. The 6-10 for Todd Holbrook, both bowlers taking 9 boxes to start their second half. So again, we'll have Kneeland and Wright. They will begin their match shortly. I see Chyrel is just walking in now, so that's not a big problem. So we have Win Trafton on lane 22 starting out. Opener of the seventh frame, and what an opener it was. The right side setback, the 5 and the 10, with no wood to help him. And we have Todd Holbrook on lane 21, dropping 6, the 1, the 2, the 7, and the 10 on the deck here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. We have Todd Holbrook versus the right side setback, the 5 and the 10, and he'll take out the 5 and the 5 only, leaving only the 10. And we have Todd Holbrook versus the 1, 2, 7, 10 for a spare, and he nearly gets it, and he will get it. Todd Holbrook excited about that one. That's a spare for Todd Holbrook. In the 7th for 74 plus a ball, Win Trafton for a 10-box against the 10, and he will take that 10 pin out. That's 74 plus a ball for Todd Holbrook, and 80 closed in the 7th for Win Trafton. So what can I tell you about Win Trafton? So Win Trafton is 175 and 81 at this point in the season with 17 matches played. There's a 2.16 win-loss ratio, and that's Win Trafton dropping 9. And now Todd Holbrook for his spare fill. Looks like it's going to be a 3 after all said and done, I believe. 3 it shall be. Win Trafton missing a 9-drop single pin spare. The 5 pin stands, the 5 pin remains. Todd Holbrook will take one more out. 1, 2, 4, 5, 8, and 10, I believe. If my eyes don't deceive me. Win Trafton will take a 9-box, missing that single pin again. And cleaning up, Todd Holbrook will take a 7-box for 84 and 8. And Win Trafton with 89 and 9. It's a close match, folks. So Win Trafton up by 5 in the match by this point. Win Trafton with a home record of 78 and 34 with 8 matches played, and an away record of 97 and 47 with 9 matches played, as a 2.29 win-loss at home and a 2.06 win-loss when away. Both bowlers leaving a bouquet of pins in the center after their first ball. It's the 1-5-3-8-9 for Win Trafton, and the 1-5-3-8-9 for Todd Holbrook as well. And Win Trafton can't break up the bouquet. He's left with the 1 and the 9. Todd Holbrook with the same leave. He misses it entirely. So it'll be an 8, 9, or 10 box for Win Trafton. And 5 and up for Todd Holbrook. Win Trafton will take a 9-box here in the 9th. And that will be a 7-box for Todd Holbrook. And 91 after 9 for Todd Holbrook, and 98 after 9 for Win Trafton. Saying hi to my former doubles partner, John Pariseau. We just concluded the doubles league here at Leda Lanes, the Monday night doubles, and we took second place, I believe, in the second half. We took a decent amount of prize money home. John Pariseau and Joe Donovan bowling on lane 28. Joe Donovan, my former boss at Daniel Webster College. And anyways, that's a one drop for Win Trafton, a misfire, or 2 drop, excuse me, and then a 6 drop for Todd Holbrook. Win Trafton trying to clean it up for a spare, and he leaves the 2 and the 5. And Todd Holbrook for a 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 spare leave, and he'll take a spare. Todd Holbrook with the marks today. That's 101 plus a ball for Todd Holbrook. Win Trafton 8, 9, or 10. And he'll take an 8. That's 106 for Win Trafton. Todd Holbrook may have this game pending this fill. 101 plus a ball for Todd Holbrook at the end of the first here. And Win Trafton's at 106 in the 10th. And then we'll have Sarah Wright and Chyrel Kneeland bowling a full game together now that Chyrel has arrived and they're getting ready to bowl. Here comes Todd Holbrook's spare fill. He yells, "Come on." Very empathetic Todd Holbrook. He'll take a 7 fill, and that will be the first game for Todd Holbrook. 108 to 106. He wins by 2. Todd Holbrook taking the first game by 2 against Win Trafton, and now we will say hello to Chyrel Kneeland and Sarah Wright in this doubleheader. And for all games past this, we will be alternating at the 5th box at the half for our pairs, but Todd Holbrook and Trafton just completing their first game ahead. And in the meantime, let's take a look at our second pair tonight. We have Chyrel Kneeland, currently 11th overall in D North. She's 108 and 130, average of 96.2. And Sarah Wright, meanwhile, the 5th seed overall in D North and the number 1 wildcard seed in D North. So those are our 2 bowlers that are up to bowl now. Again, here's the standings. All 4 bowlers in the same division. Trafton at the top, Sarah Wright right there at number 2, and we have Chyrel and Todd following up. Chyrel Kneeland on lane 22, our away bowler. She washes out the left side, and we have Sarah Wright on lane 21. A little off the left of the head pin herself. Here's some spare leaves for you, some difficult spare leaves. Left side washout, a shallow washout for Chyrel Kneeland. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. She misses it. Same ball as the first, actually, going off to the left. And we have Sarah Wright dropping a few more for the road. No spare for Sarah Wright either. And Chyrel Kneeland, very consistent ball, all 3, but unfortunately, that's a 2-box for Chyrel Kneeland to open up with. And Sarah Wright with a 7, 8, 9, or 10 box here on lane 21 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. This is the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour Class D North doubleheader. Good as always to have you along with us. I'm Steve Kelly, and we have Todd Holbrook, Trafton, Chyrel Kneeland, and Sarah Wright bowling tonight for playoff aspirations and everything that comes with it. Chyrel Kneeland with a season record of 108 and 130 with 17 matches played. That's a .83 win-loss ratio overall. Chyrel has a home record of 58 and 68 after 9 matches this season. That's a .85. And then her away record is 50 and 62 with 8 matches played. That's a .80. So Chyrel Kneeland for the spare bid, and head pin just sails through everything else. She's left with the 3, 5, 6, 8. Sarah Wright with the left side half Worcester, and she washes out the right for a few more. She's left with the 1, 3, 4, 7. Chyrel Kneeland trying to reconcile a 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 box. She'll take a 7 box after all is said and done. Sarah Wright doing the same, shooting for a 10 box overall. Chyrel took a 7. Sarah for a 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, and she will take a 10 box, cleaning up. Should be 17 after 2 for Sarah Wright and 9 after 2 for Chyrel Kneeland. We are at Leda Lanes tonight. Leda Lanes has been around since 1959, about 64 years and some change ago. Leda Lanes is a family-owned house, owned and operated by the Semino family and the Howard family. Edgar and Ray Semino, the original founding members, passed down through Sean Howard, Linda Howard, and Alexis Woolley, along with Dave Semino, Matt Susi, Joe Woolley, countless other hardworking folks maintaining a busy center with tons of leagues, cornhole, birthday party options, and, oh, by the way, Jet, did I mention there's a whole second bowling alley here? That's right. Leda's Lighthouse, located across the parking lot, is the second building specifically tailored towards glow bowling and birthday parties. So that's a 9 box for Chyrel. Nope, not a 9 box, excuse me. So one more ball to go. 9 box for Chyrel Kneeland and a 7 box for Sarah Wright. There we go. So, yes, so Leda's Lighthouse, glow bowling right in the same parking lot. Second building specifically tailored towards glow bowling and birthday parties. I worked there on the day it opened. I can vouch for the awesome effects, music, and atmosphere you'll encounter when walking in there. That's Leda's Lighthouse, located at the same location as Leda Lanes on Amherst Street in Nashua, New Hampshire. That's a 5 drop for Chyrel Kneeland. First balls have been thrown. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, or spare, and she'll take the spare. That was the right side half Worcester. No, sorry, right side 4 horsemen plus the 8. Sarah Wright with a right side washout. She's on the head pin on the object pin. She's left with the 5, 7, 8. No spare, but she can take a 10 box with a minimum of a 7 box here. That's Sarah Wright on lane 21 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. And she'll clean up for a 9 box. And where does that leave us? That leaves us at 28 in the ball for Chyrel Kneeland and 33 after 4 for Sarah Wright. Chyrel Kneeland, play action on the spare fill. That looks like a 5 fill for Chyrel Kneeland. And for Sarah Wright, she drops 6. A wide split of the 2, 4, 7, 10. Chyrel a little bit not quite full enough on the bouquet of pins in the center, the 5, 8, 9 stand. Sarah Wright for a spare. She lightly taps the wood, taking out the 10 pin on the right, leaving the 2, 4, 7. Chyrel Kneeland for the 10 box. She'll settle for a 9 box. Sarah Wright shooting for a 10 box as well. And it looks like she will take a 9 box as well. Both of our bowlers finishing even, 42 and 42 at the half, and they're going to switch lanes. Again, we just did a slight rearranging of the bowler order here just to accommodate for a couple things. And we have Sarah Wright on lane 22 now, and Chyrel Kneeland on lane 21. Appreciate having you along with us, however you're watching this, whenever you're watching this. If you're watching this live, this is May 8th, 2024, 7 days after your rent is due. Sarah Wright on the head pin, dropping 5, dropping 6. Can we make it 7? Can I have a 7? I can't have a 7. 5, 7, 8, 10 for Sarah Wright, and Chyrel Kneeland will take the 1, 3, 6, 8. We'll leave the 1, 3, 6, 8, excuse me. Sarah Wright for a spare on the 5, 7, 8, 10. She'll take out the 7, 8, and 5, no 10. Sarah Wright, 1, 3, 6, 8. Will go. The 6 1, the 6 pin stands tall. Sarah Wright versus the 10 pin. And the 10 pin will, I was about to say it was going to go, and then I thought it wasn't going to go, and it went anyway. So Sarah Wright will take a 10, and Chyrel will take a 9. It's 51 after 6 for Chyrel Kneeland, and 52 after 6 for Sarah Wright. Sarah Wright with a record of 144 and 94 with 17 matches played. Sarah Wright's home record is 58 and 54 after 8 matches played. That's a 1.07 win-loss ratio. Sarah Wright's away record is 86 and 40 with 9 matches played with a 2.15 win-loss ratio. Sarah Wright with a season average of 101.1. And that's spread eagle for Sarah Wright on the first, and a right side shallow washout for Chyrel Kneeland on lane 21 on the left. Sarah Wright with this 3, 6, 10. Chyrel Kneeland with the left side lemon drop to add to the right side washout. And Sarah Wright will take a 10 box. And Chyrel Kneeland will take an 8 box. That's 59 after 7 for Chyrel Kneeland. And Sarah Wright is at 62 after 7. Sarah Wright on the right of the head pin. She drops the 4 horseman left side plus the 9 pin. And Chyrel Kneeland will just take out the 10 pin and the 10 pin only. Sarah Wright versus the head pin. And that's going to be a 10 box for Sarah Wright and a 10 box for Chyrel Kneeland. 69 after 8 for Chyrel Kneeland and 72 after 8 for Sarah Wright. 2 boxes to go before we sit. Chyrel Kneeland on the left and Sarah Wright on the right. Makes that easy for me. Dropping 6, banana split for Sarah Wright. So, folks, okay, this is going to be interesting. So, it seems I actually may need to restart the stream after the end of this game. My apologies if you're watching on YouTube. Going to have to switch this to Facebook because I am told there's apparently going to be a need to restream the money match on Candlepin Bowling Network, so we will step aside for that at the end of the stream, or at the end of the string, that is. So Chyrel Kneeland will take a spare in the 9th, and Sarah Wright will take a 7 in the 9th. So let's see here. So we have Chyrel Kneeland with 79 plus a ball in the 9th. Sarah Wright, 79. So that's a 7 fill on Chyrel Kneeland's spare. And Sarah Wright with a right side half Worcester. She sails through the void where she took out the 3 and the 9 pins. Chyrel Kneeland, no spare for her. She takes out just the 8 pin and leaves the 4 and the 7. Sarah Wright, meanwhile, on the left, reconciling that half Worcester, but she's left with a 5 box. And that's an 8 box for Chyrel Kneeland. That's going to be a 94 for Chyrel Kneeland, taking the first game over Sarah Wright's 84. All right, folks, we are back. Sorry for the brief disruption there. Just catching my breath here real quick while we just get everything set up. Had to jump streaming providers because had to free up the restream on Candlepin Bowling Network for the money match tonight, so figured we'd just get that out of the way at the end of the first string, so make that as painless as possible. So if you're just joining us from YouTube or from Facebook again, welcome back. I'm Steve Kelly. We're in the second game, and at Leda Lanes, this doubleheader, this ACST D North season finale against Win Trafton versus Todd Holbrook and Chyrel Kneeland challenging Sarah Wright. And Todd Holbrook opened with a 10 box, and Win Trafton opened with a spare and a 1 fill, and both bowlers will take a 9 box in their second. Let's see where we're at. Todd Holbrook is at 19 after 2. Win Trafton. Excuse me, that was an 8 box for Win Trafton. Win Trafton is at 19 after 2 as well. So both bowlers are. Yep. Both bowlers are at 19 after 2. Todd Holbrook no against the 10 pin. That is for a spare for Todd Holbrook. And he gets the bounce. He gets the spare. Win Trafton on lane 21. 3 drop. First ball. 1-6-10 for Win Trafton. One 6-10 for Win Trafton on lane 21 for a 10 box, and he'll take a 7. Okay, so yes, so my apologies for the disruption in the stream at the beginning. We had to jump off because Restream only allows one person on at a time, and apparently I was hogging it, so I jumped off and switched to Facebook Live real quick. Thank goodness for OBS settings profiles in that regard. Made it as painless as possible to switch over. Todd Holbrook with the 1-3-8-9-10 on his first ball. Win Trafton dropping 5, looks like. 4-5-7-8-10. Todd Holbrook against the 1-3-8-9-10. And he'll take out everything but the head pin, leaving only the head pin. Win Trafton, meanwhile, for the 7-8-4-5-10. hits, I don't know if I would call that the object pin, but he takes only one out. So he's shooting at a 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, and a piece of wood needs to be removed. And we have Todd Holbrook for his 10 box. He'll take a 10 box. Just pausing for lane maintenance. So again, here's the standings for the division, and I'll show you the wildcard standings as well while we're just waiting for that lane maintenance. Win Trafton, one of our division leaders, number 2 overall in the whole entire D North leaderboard, pretty much. We have Sarah Wright at the top of the wildcard in the number 1 spot. Chyrel Kneeland and Todd Holbrook are technically eliminated, but they can still affect playoff standing for others based on how they do in their performance tonight. Win Trafton is going to take a 6 box after all said and done. 44 to 32, I believe. We're just waiting on a score correction just to make sure that that's correct for Win Trafton. Win, is that a 6 box? Just checking with Win on the score correction because I think I see it and he didn't. So just waiting on them to clear that up. That's a 6 box. Kind reminder to them, just to realize that it was a 6 box and not a 5 box. The automatic scoreboard didn't seem to catch that. Part of the bowler's responsibility is to pay attention to that. I know I will do my best from the background, but up to the bowlers to really catch that. So Todd Holbrook, 1, 2, 6, 7, 10. Win Trafton on the head pin. Well, not on the head pin, actually. It's to the right of the head pin, the 1, 7, 9. Piece of wood may be out of play there. Todd Holbrook for the spare, no spare. Off to the right, 1, 2, and 7 pins. Win Trafton on the head pin, head and 7 pin, leaving the 9 pin. 1, 2, 7. Todd Holbrook. Todd Holbrook will miss the head pin and leave only the head pin for a 9 box at the 5th. Win Trafton will take a 10 box. That's 53 after 5 for Todd Holbrook and 42 after 5 for Win Trafton. Appreciate you having along with us on this Wednesday night at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. This is the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, this Class D North doubleheader. Holbrook at Trafton and Chyrel at Wright. Chyrel Kneeland and Sarah Wright. Excuse me, I can't get my names right tonight. So let's take a look at our standings and superlatives. It's mostly the Win Trafton and Sarah Wright show. Win Trafton at 143 in the high singles department. In 5th place, Win Trafton at 178 and Sarah Wright at 181 for total 10. Sarah Wright in 5th place, Win Trafton in 6th place. Sarah Wright 9th place in the high series at 563, chasing Paul Newman in 8th place at 564. Win Trafton in the high single department is in a 2-way tie between Trafton and Curley, and Sarah Wright and Win Trafton are neck and neck in total 10s. So, and in the superlatives here, we have Win Trafton in 9th place at 29 total strikes, tied with Alex Patton, and Win Trafton in the perfect box percentage department is in 3rd place at 43. And we're back after a brief delay here. We're dropping 5 on lane 22. That's Chyrel Kneeland on the right and Sarah Wright on the left. Sarah Wright with a right side 4 horsemen, late dropping 6 pin. 5 drop for Chyrel Kneeland. 5, the 3, 5, 6, 7, 10 as she nearly gets the spare, leaving the 5 pin only. Sarah Wright for the 1, 3, 7, 10. And Sarah will take the 10 out and leave the other 3 pins on the deck, and that's a 9 box for Chyrel Kneeland. Sarah Wright for a 7, 8, 9, or 10 box now on lane 21 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. And that's going to be an 8 box for Sarah Wright. So, to continue our history lecture about Leda Lanes. Leda Lanes' main building contains all wood approaches and all wood lanes with sensor-based automatic scoring. That scoring software is known as BES by Cubica AMF. Leda Lanes features 36 lanes, 18 on each side of the house. One half of the house, I believe, is a donation from the former Winnipeg's Gate City Bowl in Nashua, which used to be on the Daniel Webster Highway, donated and transplanted to Leda Lanes after the former alley closed. Based on a 2011 Nashua Telegraph article, the expansion occurred in the early 1980s. Gate City Bowl was next to a duck pin and later 10-pin alley called United Bowling Center, later renamed Nashua 10-Pin Bowl, which closed in 1995 after being renamed one last time to Fair Lanes. Let's see where we're at here. We have Chyrel Kneeland with a 5-box and Sarah Wright with a 9-box. 14 after 2 for Chyrel Kneeland and 17 after 2 for Sarah Wright. Chyrel Kneeland in the purple on lane 22. She's on the head pin. Right side pocket, 1-3 pocket. She drops everything but the 2, 4, and 5 pins. Sarah Wright. Shotgun snap. Play action. Drops everything but the 5 and the 7. Left side setback. Chyrel Kneeland for her spare. Hits a little bit too full on the 2 pin, leaving the 4 and the 5. And Sarah Wright versus the 5 and the 7 pins for her spare shot. Left side setback. No wood. Very difficult shot to pull off. She'll miss the 5 pin to the right by a little bit. Chyrel will miss her 10-box opportunity. Both bowlers. Well, Chyrel will take an 8. Sarah is shooting for an 8, 9, or 10 box, which will commence now. Sarah Wright fires. She takes out 1 for a 9 box, gets halfway to the 10 box. That's 26 after 3 for Sarah Wright and 22 after 3 for Chyrel Kneeland. Chyrel Kneeland's season average is 96.2, 24th in D class. Her home average is 94.6, and that's a strike by Chyrel Kneeland. That's a hammer right there. Sarah Wright, can she follow up? Can she answer? 7 drop. 1, 2, 7 pins on the deck for Sarah Wright. 1, 2 pocket will take this out rather handily. Sarah Wright shooting for a spare. Sarah Wright on lane 21 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. She goes for it, and she will take it. She'll throw a very methodical ball in the 1-2 pocket, but she'll take that spare. The desirable shot, 32 plus a fill for Chyrel Kneeland and 36 plus a fill for Sarah Wright. Strike and spare, respectively, in the 4th. Chyrel Kneeland leads the match by 6, and the game and Sarah Wright will lead the game by 4 at the moment, subject to change. That's a 5 fill opener for Chyrel Kneeland, plus 1 more ball. Sarah Wright's spare ball is going to be a right side washout and a 5 fill total. Chyrel Kneeland completing her strike fill. Takes 1 more out for the road. That looks like a 6 filled by my eyes. Sarah Wright for the spare, a little bit too much to the left, leaving the 1 and the 2. And Chyrel Kneeland will take out all but the head pin for a 9 box. 9 box for Chyrel Kneeland. Sarah Wright shooting for an 8, 9, or 10 box now. That's a 9 box for Sarah Wright, 47 after 5 for Chyrel Kneeland, and 50 after 5 for Sarah Wright. We are at the halfway point of the second game here in this doubleheader Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour Class D North match tonight between Todd Holbrook and Win Trafton and Chyrel Kneeland and Sarah Wright. And I'm Steve Kelly commentating. It is great to have you along with us. My apologies for the abrupt stream change earlier. Again, we had a technical reason why we had to do it. There was another match scheduled on Candlepin Bowling Network, and that was when we learned that Restream only allows for 1 person to use it at a time. So, hey, we do what we got to do, right? So, Todd Holbrook and Win Trafton, we're going to welcome them back to the approaches here. And we have Win Trafton on the right and Todd Holbrook on the left. Win Trafton with a season average of 101.7. That's the 6th best in D North, or D class, that is. Win Trafton's home average is 101.4. That is 0.59 away from his away average of 102, so he's very consistent between home and away overall. And Win Trafton's high single is 143. He bowled against Chris Curley in round 6. His high series, 547 against Chyrel Kneeland in round 16. No spares for either bowler here. We have Win Trafton looking at 3, 6, 9, 10, 7. And it was a 7-10 split with wood for Todd Holbrook, and he hits the wood, takes the 7, leaves the 10. Win Trafton shooting for anywhere from a 5 to a 10 box. Looks like it's going to be a 9 box for Trafton. Holbrook for a 10. And it's going to be a 9. 62 after 6 for Todd Holbrook, and 50. The scoreboard says 52 after 6 for Win Trafton, so might need to just review that while we wait here. It would appear on the electronic scoreboard he had a 9 in the second, so I will update my scoreboard to reflect that, just to keep things in sync. Again, the official scoreboard is always the written copy the bowlers maintain separately. The one that I'm maintaining on the stream is just for the stream. And I'm just going to I'm just keeping mine in sync with the automatic scoreboard. So, Win Trafton will take a 9 box. And that's a 6 box for Todd Holbrook. That's 68 after 7 for Todd Holbrook and 61 after 7 for Win Trafton. With 3 more boxes to go before the end of the second game of this 5-game series here on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. Win Trafton washes out the left side. And Todd Holbrook will take out the left side plus a few more. Shallow washout for Win Trafton. He'll take a few more out for the road. Win Trafton will clean up for a 10. Todd Holbrook for an 8-9 or 10 now. And he'll take 9. 77 after 8 for Todd Holbrook and 71 after 8 for Win Trafton. Win Trafton with 29 strikes, 134 spares, and 178 tens for the season. He has a perfect box percentage of 43. He has 8,646 seasonal total pins. It's a spread eagle for Win Trafton and a 7 drop for Todd Holbrook. Win Trafton overall leads D North Division 1 ahead of Sarah Wright, Chyrel Kneeland, and Todd Holbrook. He's overall second in D North. No spare for Win Trafton. He's left with the left side of that eagle. 2, 4, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5 for Todd Holbrook. For the 10 box, Win Trafton will take 8. And that'll be a 7 box for Todd Holbrook. It's 84-9 for Todd Holbrook, 79-9 for Trafton, respectively. During the expansion of Leda Lanes in the 80s, lanes 31 and 36 were added, and Kegler's was moved to the other side of the building, where it was renovated as the restaurant and lounge we know it as today. And that's a backdoor strike by Todd Holbrook. Win Trafton with a shallow right side washout. Continues that washout. It's a rainy day. 1, 2, 4, 7, 5, 8 for Win Trafton. He'll take a few more out. He'll finish with an 8. That should put him at 87. 87 and 94 for, so Todd Holbrook will take not only the first game, but the second game, and he's not even done. He's just waiting on bowling balls now. We have a slow ball return. Slow ball return on the draw. So we're at Leda Lanes tonight again. I would argue that each half of Leda Lanes has a different personality and feel to it, which would only make sense considering lanes 1 through 18 are from a different bowling alley and added on later. I kind of believe that lanes 19 and 36 are much more satisfying, and they provide exciting pin action and scoring a little bit more than lanes 1 through 18. Dave Simino, though, claims that lanes 9 and 10 are statistically the highest scoring lanes in the house. I don't know if I fully agree with that, because I've never done super well on lanes 9 and 10, but I did manage to squeeze a 138 out of lane 9 in recent times, so maybe I'm the problem. Who knows? Lanes 33 and 34 at Leda Lanes are famous for being the lanes featured during the tapings for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV 50 in the late 90s and the early 2000s after the show transitioned away from the late Park Place lanes in Windham, New Hampshire. The show saw a rebranding of graphics, music, intros, and hosts with Dick Lutz and Mike Morin replacing Doug Brown and Dan Murphy when the season changed. The show was hosted at Leda Lanes until it ended in 2005 after WNDS itself was wound down after a series of buyouts and overall transitions when it came to television and entertainment technologies changing. You know, the whole thing with analog to digital and traditional TV, streaming, all that stuff. So Candlepin Bowling is mostly streaming online nowadays in a different decade. Same familiar location, though. Lanes 33 and 34 still even feature the lighting fixtures on the ceiling from when they were used for Candlepin Stars and Strikes, and they're still used from time to time when newer shows are filmed here, like Candlepin Skins and some Candlepins for Cancer episodes. So that's Todd Holbrook filling a strike. That's a 6 drop to begin with. 1-3-6-8 for the cleanup, and he'll get it. It's a 10 fill, perfect 10 fill for Todd Holbrook. That should be 104 for Todd Holbrook. Confirmed 104 over Win Trafton's 87. So far, Todd Holbrook batting 1,000 with 4 points to his name so far. Todd Holbrook remarking he's just glad that he's bowling well on stream, and he's doing that tonight, certainly. All right, so we are welcoming back Chyrel Kneeland and Sarah Wright. Lanes 21 and 22 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Sarah Wright on the right, Chyrel Kneeland on the left. Sarah Wright, season average 101.1. That's the 8th in D class overall. Home average of 98.7. Her away average is 103.5, which is 4.79 better. Her away and home are the same tonight, though, for actually all 4 bowlers in this division. Sarah Wright going for the spare. Slow-moving pins. Left with the 8. Sarah Wright for her spare. She gets it. I mean, Chyrel Kneeland for a spare. Excuse me? Not a strike, a spare. That's 57 plus a ball for Chyrel Kneeland, just pausing for lane maintenance. So, yep. So at Leda Lanes, there's also Kegler's Den, which offers plenty of drinks and taps, tons of food. There's karaoke nights. There's cornhole at Leda Lanes in addition to Kegler's Den and all that. Sarah Wright will clean up her 10 box. 60 after 6 for Wright, 57 plus a ball for Kneeland. With 4 to go before we sit. Exciting matches tonight. Wright and Kneeland currently 2 points apiece if we ended the game right now. Kneeland has the match by 7. Head-to-head doubleheader tonight. Sarah Wright washing out the left side. Chyrel Kneeland filling her spare with 6, with 7, with 8. Sarah Wright on the spare. Will she get it? Not quite. She's left with the 5 pin. Versus the 1 and 2 for Chyrel Kneeland. That's another spare. 75 plus a ball after 7. Sarah Wright trying to clean up for a 10 box. But can't quite do so. She'll take a 9. 75 plus a ball After 7 for Chyrel, 69 after 7 for Sarah Wright. Every bowler except Sarah has thrown a strike tonight. Sarah Wright's high single, she's bowled it twice, 128 versus Kevin Martell in round 14 and against Wynn Trafton in round 17. Her high series was 563 versus Jonathan Hogan in round 15. Sarah Wright has 22 strikes, 144 spares, and 181 tens. Sarah Wright's perfect box percentage is 41%. Her seasonal total pins, 8,607. Chyrel had a 3 on her fill. Sarah Wright will take an 8 box. And it appears Sarah Wright takes an 8 box. Chyrel will take a 7 box. Apparently my 7s and 8s, I can't count very well tonight. Chyrel leading this game 85 to Sarah Wright 77 with 2 to go before we conclude the second of 5 tonight. Sarah Wright on the head pin, dropping 8, leaving the 6-10. And Chyrel, favorable drop as well. Sarah Wright cleans up for a spare. Chyrel Kneeland looking at a 7 drop, 7 leave. She misses it. She didn't want to play that front wood. I know what she was trying to avoid. I do understand the hesitation on that. She'll take an 8 box. So Sarah Wright may have an opportunity here to retake the lead in the game. She's at 87 plus a ball. Chyrel Kneeland missing that spare. She's at 93 and 9. Wright fires on the head pin. Good fill. 7 fill. 5-7-10. The more difficult cousin of the high-low jack. Except the 5-pin fill. Excuse me. That's an 8 fill. Late falling 8 fill. Sarah will take one more out. Hard to convert a 7-10 with no wood. Chyrel Kneeland with a 5 drop. 4 horsemen left side on the 9 pin. She'll take out 2 of those 5. 3 of those 5, excuse me. 4 and the 7 for Chyrel Kneeland. Sarah Wright that will be a fouled 9 box, I believe. And Chyrel will take a 9 as well. Sarah Wright will take the second game, 104 to 102. And Chyrel will retain the match lead by 8 at this point by the end of the second. Both bowlers with 2 points apiece. Todd Holbrook with 4 points to Wynn Trafton 0. Holbrook in the second game up by 17, up in the match by 19 at this point. 3 to go before we get to the end and tally everything up. Oh, it looks like the bowlers are just actually briefly discussing the points. I'm just going to pause for that just to make sure I stay in sync. And it looks like everything is in sync. Just double checking the scoreboard and things look good. For a brief moment I thought we were out of sync, but then their corrections suddenly matched mine, so sometimes the winning move is not to play. All right, now let's move on to the third game. Welcome to the third game. And welcome back Wynn Trafton and Todd Holbrook to the approaches of Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. That's Todd Holbrook on the right in the green, and Wynn Trafton slightly out of view, now in view in the blue. Wynn Trafton fires. His first ball is a 5 drop. Not much to say about that one. Wynn Trafton dropping 5 plus. Is the 7 pin gonna go? It's thinking about it, but I don't think it's gonna. It's 5 drop for Todd Holbrook. He takes 2 more out of that 5, leaving the 1, the 6, and the 8. 4 horsemen left side plus the 8 pin, it looks like. When Trafton misses the object pocket, leaving the object pocket on the deck. Todd Holbrook with a high single of 120. He bolted against Ed Sargent in round 6. He'll take a 7 box. And that will be a 10 box for Win Trafton. Todd Holbrook's high series was 509 versus Jonathan Hogan in round 12. He has 7 strikes, 113 spares, 134 tens. A 30% perfect box percentage for Todd Holbrook. He has 7,850 seasonal total pins, and that's Todd Holbrook on the head pin a little bit too full. He leaves with the 3, 4, 6, 10. When Trafton, meanwhile, with a generous 9 drop, left only with the 10 pin. Got Todd Holbrook on lane 22. He hits the object pins and the object pocket. I wouldn't have done it any differently, but the 4 pin stands. It's a difficult leave. It's Candlepin bowling. When Trafton shooting for his single pin spare and he gutters it. Now he's shooting for a 10. Both bowlers shooting for a 10. Holbrook for his 10. He gets a 9. Trafton will check 10. Trafton perfect so far. 20 after 2. Todd Holbrook 16 after 2. Here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. I'm Steve Kelly. It's great to have you along. Had to jump between Facebook and YouTube, YouTube and Facebook, respectively. We had an interesting couple of technical hiccups tonight, but we're doing just fine. 2, 4, 6, 10 drop. 2, 4, 6, 10 are left for Todd Holbrook after that 6 drop, and Win Trafton will drop 5, leaving the 4 horsemen left side plus the 9 pin on the deck. Holbrook will sail through the leave, taking nothing, leaving nothing. It's like take a penny, leave a penny. And Win Trafton will do the same. I'll show you mine if you show you yours. Todd Holbrook for the 10 box, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. He'll take a 7, somewhere in between. Win Trafton for the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 box. Looks like it's going to be an 8. Pin's still wiggling, wobbling, but it's going to be an 8 box for Win Trafton. 28 after 3 for Win Trafton, 23 after 3 for Todd Holbrook. Todd Holbrook, overall, he's 4th in D North Division 1, trailing Win Trafton, Sarah Wright, and Chyrel Kneeland. He's overall 14th in D North in the overall standings. So that's an 8 drop for Todd Holbrook. 1 and the 3. And he can't take out the 1 and the 3, just takes out the 3. Win Trafton with the right side half Worcester plus DLC. He's not on the pocket. He takes a few more out. 7, 8, 6, 10 for Win Trafton for a 10 box. Todd Holbrook shooting for a 10. He'll take a 9 for 32 after 4. Win Trafton for the 10 box, and he cleans up for the 10. That's 38 after 4 for Win Trafton. Check that out. Awesome. 32 after 4 for Todd Holbrook and 38 after 4 for Win Trafton. All he does is win Trafton. Todd Holbrook's strengths lie with his strikes and spares, as we tell with his 7 strikes, 113 spares, and 134 tens. Left side washout for Holbrook. And a 6 drop for Trafton, leaving the 1, the 3, the 4, and the 7. Holbrook for the spare. Left with a 1, 5, 9. Trafton for the 3, 6, 4, 7. Spare leave. Takes the outer edges of that leave, leaving the 3 and the 4. Holbrook for the 10. He'll take 1 more off of the road. He'll take an 8. Win Trafton 8, 9, or 10. On the 3 or 4, he gets a field goal. Can't give him 2, but how about 8? That leaves us with 40 after 5 for Todd Holbrook and 46 after 5 for Win Trafton. And we'll switch our context over to Chyrel Kneeland and Sarah Wright now. Here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, this is the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour, this Class D North doubleheader between Todd Holbrook and Win Trafton and Chyrel Kneeland and Sarah Wright. I'm Steve Kelly. It's great to have you along as always. Chyrel Kneeland on the right in the purple, Sarah Wright in the black on the left. Chyrel Kneeland with a high single of 123. She bolted against Sarah Wright way back in round 3. Chyrel Kneeland's high series is 5-12. She bowled against Win Trafton in round 16. Sarah Wright nearly with her first strike of the night. Let's look at the spare leaf situation. We have Chyrel Kneeland with the 1-2-4-6-10. Now left with just the 1-6-10. Sarah Wright versus the 4-7, meanwhile, for a spare shot. On the 2 sticks, the doubles, she gets it. Sarah Wright with a spare to open up. And Chyrel will take a 7 box. Here to start out the 3rd game for our second pair of bowlers tonight. Chyrel Kneeland has 12 strikes, 122 spares, and 156 tens. Her perfect box percentage is 36%. Chyrel Kneeland has 8,168 seasonal total pins. She is 3rd in D North Division 1, ahead of Todd Holbrook and behind Win Trafton and Sarah Wright. Chyrel Kneeland is 11th place in D North overall. That's a 6 drop for Chyrel Kneeland and a 7 drop for Sarah Wright, and that's a 7 fill on her spare. Chyrel Kneeland will clean up that right side hay bale for a spare. Had some wood, it was really easy to get. Sarah Wright with a harder leave, and well, I barely missed it, but it was the 3 and 8. It was the 3, 9, 10. The 3 and the 9 went, the 10 wiggled but didn't go down. My apologies, I was just updating the scoreboard. Had a different window open. Sarah Wright will clean up her 10 box, though. That puts Sarah Wright at 27 after 2. And Chyrel Kneeland is at 17 plus a ball after 2. Appreciate you watching this match, this doubleheader match, where we had to switch channels midway through. So that's a 6 fill for Kneeland. That's a banana split, 4, 6, 7, 10. Sarah Wright with an awkward leave, 4, 5, 7, 10. Kneeland will take half of the banana split and leave the other half to go. It's a good strategy for desserts. Sarah Wright for the 4, 5, 7, 10, and that might have been a foul. Yep, I heard lost 2. That's a -2 for Sarah Wright. Chyrel will clean up her 10. Sarah's on a -2 for whatever this ends up being. And it's going to be a 7 box for Sarah Wright, I believe, if my math is correct. 34 after 3 for Sarah Wright. And 33 after 3 for Chyrel Kneeland. Chyrel Kneeland has 5 of 17 matches. She's bowled over 500. She's bowled 8 of 17 matches over 480. Match total, that is. Chyrel Kneeland on the pocket on the head pin. Pin still falling. It was going to be a 5, 7, 10, but the 10 fell late. Sarah Wright on the 1, 2 pocket. She's left with a 3, 9, 10 again. It's a repeat of just a couple boxes ago. Chyrel Kneeland, in her past 5 matches, she took 22 points. That's 16 down from the previous 5, unfortunately. Chyrel Kneeland's past away matches net 26 points for her. Versus the 5-7, Chyrel Kneeland plays the wood, and the wood doesn't play back. So it's an 8, 9, or 10 for Chyrel Kneeland on this next ball, and Sarah Wright misses her spare as well. So she'll have a 7, 8, 9, or 10 box possibility. Chyrel will take an 8. Sarah shooting for a 7, 8, 9, or 10 on the 3, 9, 10. Take 2 out of 3 for a 9 box. 41 after 4 for Chyrel Kneeland and 43 after 4 for Sarah Wright. If you're just joining us, thank you for checking out this Atlanta Candlepin Singles Tour match between Win Trafton versus Todd Holbrook and Sarah Wright versus Chyrel Kneeland. I'm Steve Kelly. Great as always to have you along. Chyrel Kneeland drops 4. Sarah Wright dropping 6, 7, 8, 9 with a 5-pin left. Chyrel Kneeland with an awkward bunch of pins on the deck. She's left no spare. 1, 2, 10 is what she's shooting at. Sarah Wright with a single pin 5-pin spare with wood. Should be fairly easy as long as it hits somewhere near the center and doesn't cap any wood. Let's see what Wright can do here. Can she right the ship? She can. Sarah Wright with the right ball. That's a spare. Chyrel will take an 8. So Sarah Wright with 2 marks in this half. She's at 53 plus a ball. Chyrel Kneeland with 1 mark in the half, 49 after 5. Everybody involved here, from the bowlers to the staff. You can't see all around me. Appreciate your viewership and interest in this live stream, as well as Candlepin bowling as a whole. Hope this broadcast finds you well. We have Todd Holbrook and Trafton returning to the approaches to bowl their second half of the 3rd game here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. We're at Leda Lanes on this kind of rainy day, bit of a dreary day, but a good day to go bowling. A lot of people choose to go bowling on rainy days, so if it's raining, think about going bowling. Trafton dropping 8. Looked like it was going to be a 9 drop. Actually, still could be if this piece of wood picks up speed. 9 and 10. 9 and 10 pins with a bunch of wood around it. Todd Holbrook not so lucky. And Todd Holbrook, being an excellent sportsman that he is, he went over the line and fouled, and he called it on himself. So he's going to call a foul. He's going to nullify the first ball of. He's going to nullify his first ball, and then, but you do get a reset if you foul on the first ball. That's how that works. But mucho congratulations. I mean, sorry. Jeez, what am I saying? Great thank you to Todd Holbrook for being a fantastic sport when it comes to calling fouls. It's a bit of an honor system, but it's always great to remember the rules. It's if you go over the foul line, it is a foul. That's why they call it the foul line. There's also the lob line, where if the ball hangs in the air for too long, it's also a foul if it crosses a certain point. So, anyways, that was Todd Holbrook with a fouled 0 for the first ball, and that's a spare for Trafton. 56 plus a ball for Trafton. Todd Holbrook with a right side washout, a shallow washout for the second ball. He has 1 to go. And it's going to be an awkward 4-box after all said and done for Todd Holbrook. That foul kind of hurt him a little bit. But again, I applaud the sportsmanship. 44 after 6 for Todd Holbrook, and 56 plus a ball after 6 for Trafton. Trafton filling a spare on lane 22. On the head pin. It's looking good. 6-10. 8 drop. 8 fill. 64 after 6. Todd Holbrook, meanwhile, right side shallow washout once again. 6-10 for Trafton. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 for Todd Holbrook, and Trafton will not get the spare. He takes one of the 2 pins necessary for the spare. Holbrook, meanwhile, off to the right of the pocket of the object. 1, 2, 4. Both bowlers shooting for 10 boxes now. Trafton, 9 or 10. It'll be a 10. 7, 8, 9 or 10 for Todd Holbrook now. He fires. He'll take 1 out awkwardly. Amazing that it flew forward. That's 7. After 7, Todd Holbrook is at 52, and Trafton's at 74. Oh, my apologies. Apparently that was a fouled 9 for Trafton. 73 after 7 for Trafton. See, this is why I'm back there and they're up there scoring. And that's a 5. Well, it was going to be a 5 drop, but the extra pins fell for Todd Holbrook. He's left with the 6-10. Trafton with the right side shallow washout. A little bit too full. Threw that ball hard. Straight through the center. Left with the 2, 3, 4, 7. Todd Holbrook for a spare. He gets a spare. Cleans up nicely. 62 plus a ball. Trafton for a 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 box. Does the best he can with it. He'll take a 9 box for 82 and 8 versus Todd Holbrook 62 plus a ball after 8. Todd Holbrook and Trafton staying competitive, but Todd Holbrook bowling exceedingly well tonight. Although he's going to have to pick up the pace a little bit to keep up with Trafton in this game. Trafton fires, play action, a couple pins fall, a couple pins stay up. It's a 4 drop. Todd Holbrook on a spare fill, hits it lightly, pin still falling. It's a 6 fill. 6 on a spare, 5, 6, 7, 10. Trafton will take a few more for the road, leaving the 1, the 4, the 7, and the 9. Todd Holbrook for the 5, 6, 7, 10 spare leave, difficult leave. He gets 2 of the 4 pins. He remarks, totally wrong side. And hey, what are you going to do? Win Trafton versus the 1, the 4, the 7, and the 9. He takes the 9 only out. Holbrook versus 7, 10. Got to pick a stick. He picks the left stick. He takes a 9 box. 7 for Trafton, 9 for Holbrook, 77 and 9. Sounds like a poem. 77 and 9 for Todd Holbrook and 89 and 9 for Win Trafton. Win Trafton on lane 22. Fires, pin still falling, 8 drop, 210. And now we have Todd Holbrook responding. He responds with an 8 drop, the 3-6. Win Trafton versus the 2 and the 10. 2 and the 10 for Win Trafton. And he had the right idea. He thought he could pinball, but the ball shoots too high up, leaving the 10 box, the 10 pin unharmed. And Todd Holbrook will take a spare in the 10th. Coming alive here. Win Trafton will take a 9 for 98. He will take the 3rd game, as close as it may look. The highest Todd Holbrook can get is 97 when Trafton finishes with 98. Because he's currently at 87 plus a ball. Here's the fill ball for, ooh boy, what even is that? It's just 2, looks like. Deserved better than that, but it was a 2 fill. It's an 89 after all said and done. Yes, it is a 2 fill. The automatic score system thought it was a 3 fill, but you have eyes, I have eyes, we saw it. And they are currently correcting that on the automatic scoreboard. Sorry for the pause. We all just had to pause and make sure it actually was 2 pins that fell, and then we had to compare it against what the computer camera saw. Anyways, that's 89 for Todd Holbrook versus Win Trafton's 98. Win Trafton taking 2 points tonight against Todd Holbrook's 4 so far. Holbrook up in the match by 10. Trafton takes this game by 9. 3-game total of 301 for Todd Holbrook and a 2-game total of 291 for Win Trafton. Sarah Wright fires, and she will fill that spare with 7. She was on a spare. Chyrel Kneeland will drop 5. 4 horsemen right side on the 7 pin. We are off to the races in the second half of the 3rd game here. We are past the halfway point. Sarah Wright will miss the pocket narrowly and take just the 3 pin out, leaving the 1 and the 7. Chyrel Kneeland with the 1, 3, 6, 10, 7. Takes out all but the 7 and the 10. A pin curling around the 7 pin, leaving it alone. Both bowlers for an 8, 9, or 10 box now. Sarah Wright at 84. Chyrel at 94. Sarah will take a 9. And Chyrel will pick a stick and take 9 as well. That puts Chyrel Kneeland at 58 after 6 and Sarah Wright at 69 after 6. Both bowlers have 4 boxes to go. And I think a light just went out at Leda Lanes. It's not in view here, but a couple lanes down, all of a sudden it looks like a light went out. And oof, awkward first balls all around. Chyrel hits the 3 and takes out, I don't know if I've ever seen this leave before. The 1, the 4, the 6, the 7, 8, 9, 10. That's one heck of something. You call that a picket fence and a Greek church? I don't know what that is. Sarah Wright again chopping wood with this. These leaves are gnarly. Yeah, someone got a screenshot of this. I don't know if I've ever seen this leave before, but we've officially gotten it on camera. That's Chyrel Kneeland shooting for a spare off of this. The head pin is the object pin for this shot. Whatever happens here, let's see what happens. She misses the head pin to the right, taking out only the 9 pin. Sarah Wright will take a few more out. She's left with the 2, 4, 7 for a 7 box, and Kneeland will also take a 7 box. Going box for box. 65 after 7 for Kneeland and 76 after 7 for Wright. Sarah Wright on the right. She is second in D North Division 1 ahead of Chyrel Kneeland and Todd Holbrook and trailing Win Trafton. She's the number 1 seed in the wildcard bracket. She's 5th place overall in D North. And Sarah Wright drops a few, drops 6. Chyrel Kneeland dropping 6 as well. 1, 2, 4, 8 for Chyrel. Sarah Wright with the 4 horseman left side. She runs down the 4 horseman for a spare. That's big at this point in the game. 86 plus a ball for Sarah Wright. Chyrel trying to match. She hits the object pin, but it hits it just lightly and a little bit off to the right. She's up for a 7, 8, 9, or 10 box. She rushes that ball a little bit, but it seems to pay off for a 10 box. Chyrel Kneeland, 85 after 8 for Chyrel Kneeland, and 86 plus a ball for Sarah Wright. Sarah Wright has the 9th high series in the D class at 563. Sarah Wright has the 5th most 10 boxes in D class at 181. She has the 9th most spares in the D class at 133, and it is in a 3-way tie for the 6th highest. Excuse me while I pause to make sure I get that fill recorded. 8 fill for Sarah Wright, 94 and 8. Sarah Wright is in a 3-way tie for 6th highest D-class perfect box percentage at 41%, tied with Richard Lerman and Jonathan Hogan. Chyrel Kneeland with a pretty spare leave and an honorable attempt, but is left with a 10 pin. Sarah Wright shooting at the 7 pin. Sarah Wright will take a 10. Excellent fill, excellent box, and Chyrel Kneeland will take a 9. And Sarah Wright is pulling ahead at this point by 20, 104 to Chyrel Kneeland's 84 at the end of the 9th. With 1 to go, it's going to come down to marks here, especially for Chyrel Kneeland to maintain that lead. Or for Sarah Wright to maintain that lead, that is. And Chyrel Kneeland will need marks just to catch up. Sarah Wright dropping 6. Chyrel Kneeland off the head pin to the left. 4 horseman right side and the 8 pin. Sarah Wright with a 3, 6, 7, 10 that she's shooting at here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire on lanes 21 and 22, the conclusion of the D North Division 1 matches for this 23-24 Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour season. And that's Sarah Wright missing her spare on just a 7-10 no wood. Chyrel Kneeland also missing the spare for 1, 3, 8. And it looks like that's going to be the 3rd game for Sarah Wright at this point. 8, 9, or 10 for Sarah. I hear 1 going down. That's a 9 box for Sarah Wright. And an 8 box for Chyrel Kneeland. Chyrel Kneeland will finish with 93. Excuse me, that's an 8 box for, I think I got that backwards. Double check that. It's 113 for Sarah Wright, 92 for Chyrel Kneeland. I had the boxes crisscrossed because the bowlers were on opposite lanes, and I mentally had them in the opposite spots. So, yes. So, okay, these scores are correct. 89 for Todd Holbrook, 90 for Win Trafton, 92 for Chyrel Kneeland, and 113 for Sarah Wright. So, and there's some discussion going on about the scoring again. I think it's just within the paper copy. Remember, the stream copy is always unofficial. I know I myself have had a couple of goofs on my part, and although score may be subject to change, there's some discussion going on between the 4 bowlers in terms of 1 box. I may have been... Nope, it looks like we're good. All right, we're moving on to the 4th game. Sorry about that. Just the verification process is... It's a work of art. I'll leave it at that. So Todd Holbrook on the right, Win Trafton on the left. Looks like Todd Holbrook might have missed that, but I think he fouled it. Win Trafton dropping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, dropping 4. 1, 2, 4, 8, 6, 10 for Win Trafton. Holbrook on the redo for the spare ball. And it's a 3-4. And Win Trafton for the spare follow-up. He's left with the 10 pin and the 10 pin only. 3-4 for Todd Holbrook. 1 pin slid a little bit. Shooting for a 10 box. He's going to take an 8 box. Win Trafton shooting for a 10 box. He'll take that 10 box. Start out the fourth game here. 4 out of 5. So we got Todd Holbrook on the right. Todd Holbrook's strengths lie with strikes and spares. His perfect box percentage has increased from 27 to 30% in the past few months here. So that's improvement right there. Except for one match, he has a minimum of 4 spares in every match so far this season. He drops 7 when Trafton dropping 4. And Todd Holbrook for the spare. He's left with the 6 and the 6 only. Win Trafton for the 1, the 2, the 8, the 6, and the 10. And he'll take a spare. Win Trafton with the spare. Todd Holbrook versus the 6 pin for the 10 box. He'll take a 9. 17 for Holbrook. 20 plus a ball for Trafton after 2. Todd Holbrook averages .41 strikes per match, 6.65 spares per match, and 7.88 tens per match. In the past 5 matches, Todd Holbrook has taken 21 points. That's plus 7 from his previous 5. In the past 5 away matches, and look at that almost strike by Todd Holbrook. My goodness. Gets very excited when he throws a ball that he knows is going to go well. He drops everything but the 8. Win Trafton, half Worcester plus DLC, 1, 2, 4, 8, 6, 10. Todd Holbrook in the past 5 matches has taken 21 points. That's plus 7 from his previous 5. In his past 5 away matches, he's taken 19 points. And that's a spare for Todd Holbrook. He remarked before he just wanted to do well on stream, and here he is doing well on stream. Win Trafton trying his best to clean up, but can't quite do it. He's left with the 6-10, shooting for a 10 box now. That's Win Trafton in the blue on lane 21. He'll take a 9 box. 29 after 3 for Win Trafton, and 27 plus a ball after 3 for Todd Holbrook. Todd Holbrook's longest streak of matches over 500 is 3 this season. And oof, that's going to be a 2 fill on Todd Holbrook's spare. I think he got a little bit excited on that one. Oops. 2 fill, yes. And Win Trafton, strong ball on the pocket. Drops off with a 6, and the 6 is wiggling. Nearly goes, but wiggling doesn't mean a fallen pin. 1, 3, 8 for Todd Holbrook on the spare conversion attempt. That'll be a 10 box for Win Trafton. Excuse me, a spare for Win Trafton. What am I saying? Todd Holbrook for the 10 box. He nearly gets it, and he raises his hand in the air in protest, but there's no challenge flags in Candlepin bowling. That's a 9 box for Todd Holbrook. 38 after 4 for Holbrook. 39 plus a ball after 4 for Win Trafton. Most recently, Todd Holbrook faced Chyrel Kneeland in round 17 at Leda Lanes. He took 10 points with a 484 series. His high game was 110. That was 10 off of his all-time high seasonal single. And that's a strike on spare for Win Trafton. And Todd Holbrook just trying to answer. Pin's still falling even. Left with the 1 and the 2 on the deck. For a 10 box, you will take a 9 for 47 after 5 at the half. Win Trafton with a strike on spare. That's 59 at the half, plus whatever the fill is when they return to the approaches. And just to conclude my thought, Todd Holbrook had 1 strike, 4 spares, and 14 tens in that match against Chyrel Kneeland in round 17 at Leda Lanes. Thanks for watching this Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour Class D North doubleheader at Leda Lanes, the conclusion of the D North Division 1 regular season for these 4 bowlers. They're all in the same division. And we have Chyrel Kneeland in the purple on the right and Sarah Wright in the black on the left. Chyrel Kneeland, what more can I tell you about Chyrel Kneeland? She faced Todd Holbrook in round 17. She took 4 points in that match with a 484 series. She took 2 strikes, 7 tens, and 9 spares. Her third game was the best at 112. Chyrel Kneeland with a 6 drop, trying to convert to a spare, can't quite do it. Takes 1 more out in the second ball. Sarah Wright for her spare attempt is a difficult one. It was the 2-6-4. She takes out the 6. Chyrel versus the 1, the 8, and the 10. She fires. Play action. Off to the left. That's a 7 box for Chyrel Kneeland. be an 8 box for Sarah Wright, meanwhile. 7 and 8 after 1, respectively, for Kneeland and Wright. 4 to go before they sit for the conclusion of the first half of the 4th game. Chyrel Kneeland will take out the right side half Worcester. Half Worcester is if you take out the 3 and the 9 or the 2 and the 4. And Sarah Wright does the same thing. Chyrel Kneeland will take a few more out. 1, 6, 8, and 10. Sarah Wright trying to convert the half Worcester of her own on the right side. She'll wash out the left. Neither bowler on spares. Chyrel will take an 8 box. Sarah Wright between a 6 and a 10 box here. It will be a 7 box for Sarah Wright. 15 after 2 for both of our bowlers here. Chyrel Kneeland, self-described, self-employed gigger of many things. Her favorite job is pet sitting and house sitting. She's a jack of many trades. She ranges from yard operations to construction site work. Chyrel Kneeland does it all. Chyrel drops 7. Sarah drops 6. That's a banana split. Chyrel Kneeland with a small bouquet of pins. 1, 2, 5. On the 1, 2, 5, she connects with the 2, 5, leaving the 1. Sarah Wright versus a banana split with a bit of wood to help. I don't know. I might attack the right side. And Sarah Wright thought the same, but she hits the wood a little bit too much to the right. Taking half the banana split home and half to go. Or half at the restaurant and half to go, specifically. Chyrel will take a 9. Sarah Wright for an 8, 9, or 10. And she'll take that 10. 24 after 3 for Kneeland. 25 after 3 for Wright. Kneeland fires. Play action. She's on the head pin, dropping 7, 5, 7, 8. Sarah Wright on the head pin. She's dropping 9, late falling 9. The 5 pin is the only one left on the deck. Kneeland for the spare. Left with the 5 pin, no spare. Both bowlers shooting at the 5 pin king pin for a 10 box. Sarah will get her 10. Will Kneeland get her 10? She will not. Kneeland will take a 9. Wright will take a 10. No, just kidding. Sarah Wright will take a spare. I can't count tonight. My apologies. Anyways, yeah, let's rewind that. Sarah Wright dropped 9 with the 5 pin and took a spare. She connected with it. Chyrel Kneeland just took a 9 box. Kneeland washes out the left side of the deck. Sarah Wright on the head pin, light hit, but a 6 drop, 6 fill. Kneeland trying to convert it to a spare, and she's left with the 5 pin once again. The 5 pin comes back like a bad cold. Sarah Wright versus the 5, 7, 10, 3. She'll take out the 3, 5, leaving the 7, 10. Kneeland on the 5 pin for a 10 box. Kneeland shooting for a 10 box on the 5 pin. Fires, curves left, doesn't curve fast enough though. She takes a 9. Sarah will take an 8. 42 after 5 for Kneeland, 49 after 5 for Wright. Oh, and I missed a fill. Excuse me, I missed when Trafton's fill in the second box. Okay, so correction on my part. Sorry about that. That's not like me to miss that. So Win Trafton is actually at 63 at the half, and Todd Holbrook's at 47 at the half. Win Trafton is on a strike, and he's filling that strike, so it's 63 plus a fill. Win Trafton on the right in the blue. Win Trafton is the 5th high single in the D class at 143, and ooh, that's an ugly first ball for the fill, but thank goodness you get 2. Won't count it till the second ball. Holbrook on the head pin, on the pocket. Pin still falling. 7 drop, 3, 9, 10. Spare conversion for Win Trafton starting now. On the pocket, much better ball, much better fill. Reconciled that fill. It's a 9 fill, 72 after 5 for Win Trafton. Todd Holbrook for the spare. Is the ball going to come back around? And not quite. He's left with the 9 pin. The ball is actually still on the deck. Oh, there it goes. It rolls off. It's Win Trafton versus the 2. Oh, and my apologies. Apparently that was a foul on Todd Holbrook's part. Again, major props to Todd Holbrook for calling fouls. It's a 9 box for Trafton. So, okay, that's confusing. Todd Holbrook calling his foul, and we're just trying to figure out what box he had because he said 8 box, but we'll find that out in a minute here. Again, I'm going to stay out of it. I'll wait to see what the bowlers come up with once the dust clears. It's going to be an 8 box, I suppose. 55 after 6 for Holbrook. 81 after 6 for Trafton. And Holbrook, there's a remedial strike. That's no foul about that. Strike in the 7th, 65. And Trafton will follow up, no spare. 1 and 3 are on the deck. Trafton for the 10. He'll get the 10. 91 in 7 for Win Trafton. 65 plus a fill for Todd Holbrook in the 7th. Win Trafton is 6th place in terms of most 10s in D class at 178. He has the 9th most strikes in the D class at 29. He has the 3rd best perfect box percentage at 43%. That's +1 since March 28th. In his past 5 matches, Win Trafton has earned 48 points. That's -1 from the previous set of 5. He has 8 of 17 matches over 500 and 7 of 17 matches over 520. He scores generally on average 9.75 points per home match and 10.8 points per away match. That's the story for Win Trafton. Win Trafton versus the 1-2-7, and he misses the 1-2, connects with the 2 and the 7. It's a lemon drop for Todd Holbrook. And there is some discussion on the score once again. I need to make some score corrections because there's some discussion going on about that. I will have to catch up on that because I'm not quite sure what just happened there. So that's a 6 fill on Todd Holbrook's strike. Again, score I might need to adjust because I'm not sure what they just changed. That's a 10 box for Win Trafton. Trafton is at 101 after 8. That is confirmed. And that's going to be a 7 box for Holbrook. I need to figure out what got corrected here. Okay, we appear to be in sync right now. Still some discussion on that. I'm going to, again, I'll stay out of it. I'll see where that lands. That's a spread eagle for Win Trafton. The traditional academic spread eagle, but it's a 3 pin, 3 of 4, 7 drop for Holbrook. Trafton will take a few more out, no spare. 7 drop for Holbrook in the first, the 3, 5, 6. 3 in the 6 go, the 5 stays. Trafton 2, 3, 4, 7, 8 for a 10 box. We'll take an 8 box. $10 box for Todd Holbrook. Okay, and I think we are caught up. 109 to 88? Yes, we are. Okay. There was some discussion over maybe how the display on the electronic scoreboard is showing marks and pins and such, but we are indeed in sync. Sorry about that. That's me also trying to keep in sync with the bowlers, discussing what the right score should be. That's a 9 drop for Win Trafton. My zoom cam seems to be drooping a little bit. My apologies on that. That's a strike for Todd Holbrook. Another strike. 98 plus a ball for Todd Holbrook, and Trafton's on a 9 drop versus the 10 pin. I don't think I can crop this any further than I have it. If this droops anymore, I'm going to have to physically fix that zoom cam, and I apologize for that if that gets weird. Trafton for the 10 box. Take a 9. I think at the end of the string I might make an adjustment on that. So once again we find Todd Holbrook filling a mark in the 10th. Todd Holbrook has the most strikes out of anybody tonight. He has 3 strikes and 7 spares. Trafton with 2 strikes and 5 spares. They're discussing what the differential is between Todd Holbrook and Trafton. $3.99 to $4.09. $3.99 to $4.09. I just yelled it over to him because they wanted to know what the total was, and I just yelled it over based on what I could see. Todd Holbrook throwing a ball and yelling, yeah! But yeahs don't get strikes. So 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. It was the right ball, right idea, but hey, it is what it is. And he takes a 7 on that strike fill.
All right, I'm down 3 for total.
105 to 118 in the 4th game. That is confirmed on the electronic scoreboard. 4-game total of 406 for Todd Holbrook. 4-game total of 409 for Trafton. Todd Holbrook, if you're rewatching this later, that's the total. Chyrel Kneeland and Sarah Wright. Meanwhile, match differential by 20 for this pair of bowlers. Again, I might make an attempt to fix that zoom cam. I know it's drooping. Thank you, I do know. I've been watching it slowly droop for the past game and a half here. Sarah Wright on lane 22 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. She's on the head pin, and it's a nice shot. Not too full, not too light. She drops all but the 6, and the 6 pin is wiggling. Look at that wiggling 6 pin. Doesn't fall, though. Chyrel Kneeland off to the left, taking out the 7 and the 7 pin only for a 1 drop so far. Sarah Wright will attempt to get that single pin spare, and she'll miss it just narrowly to the right. 6 pin stands. Chyrel Kneeland with a 1 drop on the 7 pin. Second ball, much better ball on the 1-3 pocket. 5-10. 5 pin wiggling. Both bowlers shooting for 10 boxes. Sarah Wright will take a 9 box, unfortunately. Chyrel Kneeland for the 8, 9, or 10. Chyrel shooting for an 8, 9, or 10. Probably have to pick a stick. I'd pick the 5 pin if I had to bet on it. She misses it, though. 5-10. That's an 8 box for Kneeland. 50 after 6 for Kneeland. 58 after 6 for Sarah Wright. With 4 to go before we sit. And by sit, I mean finish the 4th game. Sarah Wright on lane 22 in the black shirt. Sarah Wright is in a 3-way tie for the 6th highest D-class perfect box percentage at 41%, tied with Richard Lerman and Jonathan Hogan. Sarah Wright's past 5 matches, she's taken 50 points. That's plus 13 compared to her previous 5. With the exception of 1 outlier, Sarah Wright throws a minimum of 8 10s per match. Sarah Wright on the 4-horse and right side plus a friend. She takes out all but the 6 and the 10. Chyrel Kneeland versus the 2, the 6, the 4, and the 7. She takes out the 7 and the 7 only. Sarah Wright versus the 6-10, and she'll take out the 10 and leave it the 6. That's a 7 box for Kneeland. 57 to 67, Kneeland and Wright, respectively. That's the end of the 7th box. Appreciate you watching. I'm Steve Kelly, calling this doubleheader match. Sarah Wright scores on average 7.25 points per home match and 9.56 points per away match. Sarah Wright dropping 8, the 5-10. And Chyrel Kneeland washing out the right side shallowly. The 6, 9, and 10 pins out. Sarah Wright versus the 5 and 10. She'll take the 10 out, 5 pin stays. Chyrel. Take a few more out for the road. leaving the 1, the 3, and the 7 for 10 box. Opportunity for both bowlers. Sarah Wright, 9 or 10. She'll take a 10. Chyrel Kneeland will take a 9. That puts Chyrel at 66 after 8 and Sarah Wright at 77 after 8. Sarah Wright has bowled 9 out of 17 matches over 500 this season and 6 out of 17 matches over 520 this season. Sarah Wright last faced Win Trafton in round 17. She took 4 points with a 534 series, averaging 106.8. All of her games were in the 100s. She bowled 2 strikes, 11 spares, and 8 tens in that round 17 match against Win Trafton. Sarah Wright dropping 7, a difficult leave with no wood. The 4, 7, 10. Chyrel Kneeland with a right side washout. 1, 2, 4, 7, 8, 10. Sarah, no spare. No additional pins taken out. Chyrel Kneeland will take out all but the 1 and the 10 pins. Sarah Wright shooting for a 10 box now at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. She'll take 2 of the 3 out for a 9 box. Chyrel will take 8. 74 after 9 for Chyrel Kneeland and 86 after 9 for Sarah Wright. With 1 to go here in the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour at the end of the 4th of 5 games in this 5-game series in this Week 18 regular season finale for Class D North Division 1. Sarah Wright dropping 7 and Chyrel Kneeland dropping 6. Sarah Wright has the 1, the 3, and the 7 pins to shoot at, and Chyrel Kneeland is shooting at the 2, the 6, the 4, and the 7 pins. Sarah Wright will miss the object pocket, the object pins, hitting nothing. Chyrel Kneeland will do the same. Same pins on the deck. For 10 boxes now, Sarah Wright for the 1, the 3, and the 7 pins. Connects with... Oh, and there was a sleeper pin behind him. My mistake. Just the head pin is left. That's a 9 box for Sarah and a 6 box for Chyrel. 80 for Chyrel in the 4th. And 95 for Sarah Wright in the 10th. That puts Sarah Wright at a 4-game total of 396. Chyrel Kneeland, 4-game total of 368. Win Trafton, 4-game total of 409. And Todd Holbrook, 4-game total of 406. I'm going to try to fix the Zoom cam real quick, so please bear with me one moment while I do that. I'm just going to switch to this view real quick. There we go. Assuming there's no earthquakes or no more drooping, I think that should be enough to get us through the 5th game here. My apologies on that. All right, so where are we? We are with Win Trafton and Todd Holbrook. Win Trafton will take a 10. Todd Holbrook will take a 9. It's about as good as I can hope for a pin cam adjustment at this point. Let's fix the cropping on this guy here. I hope that's viewable. Should be good enough to get us at least to the end of this game. Cameras are an interesting thing to place at bowling alleys, let me tell you. So, that is the 2, 4, 7, 9, 10 for Todd Holbrook. Can I crop this a little more? I cannot. I'm sorry about that. And that's the 4 horseman right, left side and the 10 pin for Win Trafton. 7, 9, 10 for Todd Holbrook. For a 10 box. He fires. And that's an 8 box, a hard fought 8 box for Todd Holbrook that he went to war for. Win Trafton will take a 9 box. 17 after 2 for Holbrook, 19 after 2 for Trafton. Holbrook fires, play action. Full on the head pin. Like it's a generous leave compared to what it could have been. Trafton, meanwhile, misses the head pin, but he drops 7, leaving the 1, the 3, and the 6. Holbrook versus the 3, 6, 7, 10. Holbrook fires. Takes the 10 pin and the 10 pin only out. 7, 8, 9, or 10 box for Holbrook, and that's a spare for Win Trafton. Spare for Win Trafton. Holbrook will take an 8 box as a consolation prize. That puts Win Trafton at 29 plus a ball after 3 and Todd Holbrook at 25 after 3. Scores are confirmed on the electronic scoreboard. So Todd Holbrook, this is his 2nd season at the ACST. His home lanes are here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Takes a few out, mostly in the back row. Kind of a washout, kind of not. When Trafton misses the headpin in the right, but drops 7 once again. That sounds familiar. 1, 2, 7 for Trafton. Holbrook taking a few more out. So 1, 2, 6, 10. No spare for Holbrook. Trafton, that was a 7 fill and a spare. He's going for the next spare. Can't quite get it. The 7 pin doesn't cooperate. Holbrook for the 10 box. We'll take that 10 box. And Trafton will also take a 10 box. 35 after 4 for Todd Holbrook and 46 after 4 for Win Trafton. With 1 to go before they sit. For real this time. Holbrook, he fires. On the head pin on the 1-2 pocket, dropping 7, 4, 5, 7 for Holbrook. Trafton, meanwhile, he's on the head pin, and ooh, wow, he deserves way better than that. That's the, 7, 8, 9, 5, 3. Almost better to count that in reverse. Holbrook, difficult leave, 4, 5, 7. Tried to play the 5, but he missed the 5. So no spare for Holbrook. Trafton's spare ball. Plays the wood. I don't know if he meant to do that, but he's left with the 3 and the 7. Holbrook for a 10 box. He'll take 1 for the road for an 8. Trafton, meanwhile, will take 1 more for the road for a 9. That puts Holbrook at 43 after 5 and Trafton at 55 after 5. There you are now. These 2 bowlers are now going to sit, and Chyrel Kneeland and Sarah Wright are going to bowl their final first half of this 5-game series. For the evening and for the season, this is the season finale of this 18-match season for this division. This is the entirety of Class D North Division 1, all in one broadcast here at the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. I'm Steve Kelly, delivering it to you live on Facebook on the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour page. And later on, I'm going to edit this together and get this back on Candlepin Bowling Network as a uploaded, pre-recorded video. Because I know we started on Candlepin Bowling Network and we had to abruptly switch over to just Facebook Live due to a couple of technical difficulties in terms of scheduling and restream and all that. You don't want to know the details, trust me. Chyrel Kneeland, 4, 6, 7 on her spare. Nope, she calls out a foul. She calls out a foul. It's going to be a 7 for Kneeland. Sarah Wright, spare ball. She leaves the 1 and the 10 on the deck. Sarah Wright shooting for an 8, 9, or 10 box. And it looks like it's going to be a 9 box for Wright. 9 box for Wright, 9 after 1 for Wright, 7 after 1 for Kneeland. Chyrel Kneeland wasting no time. Off to the left. That's a left side lemon drop. 4-pin and the 4-pin only. Are on the deck on lane 22 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Craig Powers and Jeremy Van Dyke bowling a few lanes down from us. That's a C-class match. And, oh boy, first ball for both these bowlers. Chyrel Kneeland with the 7, 8, 9, 10, 6. Sarah Wright just versus the 5 pin, and she's wildly off to the left of that 5 pin for a spare. Chyrel Kneeland just trying to spare it up. Good attempt, but the wood stops the action short of being a spare. She's left with the 7 and the 8. Sarah Wright still with the 5 pin for a 10 box. Sarah Wright will take a 10. Kneeland will take an 8. 15 after 2 for Kneeland, 19 after 2 for Wright. Chyrel Kneeland on the pocket, on the 1-3 pocket. Drops all but the 9. No, not the 9. Drops 9, leaving the 7 pin. And Sarah Wright yet to throw her first ball. Not sure what's going on. I think we have another scoring issue on their side, so I'm just going to pause and let the dust settle on that one. Just going to wait that one out. Anyways, so while we're waiting on that, actually 1 second. Sorry, say it again? Chyrel had an 8. Should be 15 after 2. Yeah, I know what you did. You marked 1 ball as a foul, but forgot to foul the 2nd ball off, so it kind of got messed up. Yeah, I think I know what you did. Just doing a score correction down there, because I think when they marked Chyrel's ball as a foul, something happened there. So we're just going to, again, pause for that. They actually asked me for the verification on that one. So anyways, while we're waiting for that, if you like this content, check out Candlepin Bowling Network on YouTube and Candlepin Corner on YouTube for Friday Night Pro League and Candlepin Skins, respectively. Sarah Wright dropping 9. Chyrel with the 9 drop on the 7 pin for the spare. She'll take that spare. Sarah Wright for her spare ball now on the 10 pin. Sort of mirror image spare opportunities here. Sarah Wright will miss it off to the right. That's the 10 pin. Shooting for a 10 box now. Sarah Wright on lane 21 at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Her home house is Leda Lanes here. She'll take a 10 box. Take a 10 box. That's 25 plus a ball for Chyrel Kneeland and 29 after 3 for Sarah Wright. At this point in the match, Sarah Wright leads the total by 32 and is up in the game by 4. Sarah Wright currently has 12 points to Chyrel Kneeland's 2 if we ended the game right now. Chyrel will drop 6, 4, 5, 7, 10 for Chyrel. No wood to help her. Sarah Wright will drop 6, 6 and change, 7, 10 with wood. Both leaves are difficult. And Chyrel will take 2 more for the road. Sarah Wright for her spare ball on the 7-10 piece of wood across the 10. She'll take 1 out, leaving the 7. Neither bowler getting spares, shooting for 10s. 5-10 for Chyrel Kneeland, and she'll take a 9. 6 fill 9. She'll put her at 40 after 4. Sarah Wright will take a 10 box. For 39 after 4 for Sarah Wright and 40 after 4 for Chyrel Kneeland. It is a foot race for Sarah Wright to continue her 27 match total. And Chyrel Kneeland trying to chase that total meanwhile, but she's up in the game by 1. Currently, Sarah Wright is taking a boatload of points tonight. Chyrel Kneeland dropping 6. The 2, the 4, the 5, and the 8 pins are left on the deck. And Sarah Wright will drop 6. 3, 6, 7, 10 are on the deck. And Chyrel versus the left side diamond. The diamond frequently wins, and the diamond wins again. She takes the 4 pin out, leaving the 3, 5, and 8 pins. Sarah Wright versus the 3, 6, 7, 10. She misses everything. And Chyrel Kneeland will take a 7 box. Sarah Wright shooting for a 10 box. 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10 box possibility here. And she will take a 7 box to sit on a 46 half. Chyrel Kneeland on a 47 half. That's the end of all the first halves here tonight at Leda Lanes, and at the end of all the first halves for the season for this division. So where are we before we conclude this fifth of 5? We are at 15 over for Win Trafton in the total, and up 12 in the game. Sarah Wright's up 27 in the total, while Chyrel Kneeland holds on to the game by 1 at the halfway point of the 5th game. Here at the Atlantic Campus Singles Tour, every bowler has bowled a strike except for Sarah Wright. Every bowler has bowled at least 6 spares, though, meanwhile, with Todd Holbrook at a +1 for that spare. For that spare count, that is, at 7. So just before we go, I just want to give a couple of special thanks before we finish this game tonight. I want to thank our ACST League Commissioner, Danny Finn, our ACST stats and numbers crunched by Micah Imperato, making me look a lot smarter than I actually am, Brian Hebert for statistical graphics used in this broadcast, the staff at Leda Lanes and Leda's Lighthouse, and of course you. I always appreciate you guys watching and dealing with all the shenanigans and sometimes technical difficulties on our part. That's a spare by Win Trafton, 65 plus a ball after 6. Todd Holbrook shooting for a spare, and he misses it. That's the 1 and the 3 on the deck. Todd Holbrook versus the 1 and 3 for the 10 box, and he'll take that 10 box for 53 after 6. And Win Trafton sits at 65 after 6. Trafton filling a spare. He fires. Play action. That's a 5 fill. For 70 after 6 for Trafton. It's a right side shallow washout for Todd Holbrook. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Trafton for the spare conversion. He misses the pocket. He's left with the 1 and the 9. And only the 1 and the 9. Holbrook for the spare conversion. He takes 2 more out, leaving the 4 horsemen left side, 1, 2, 4, 7. Win Trafton on lane 22. He fires. Takes 1 more out for the road. For a 9 box for Trafton and a 6 box for Holbrook. It's 59 and 7 for Holbrook and 79 and 7 for Trafton. That is confirmed. So if you enjoyed what you saw and want to see more, I invite you to strike, comment, and subscribe to the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour page on Facebook, as well as Candlepin Bowling Network, Candlepin Corner, Alley Chat, and the Candlepin Bowling channel, where all kinds of other videos, streams, and productions are regularly posted in addition to results and statistics. If you're a returning viewer, it's great to have you along once again. I hope you enjoyed this program. If you're into podcasts, there's also Candlepin shows such as The Approach and Ripping the Rack, so check those out if you feel so inclined. If you're new to the world of Candlepin bowling content, I want to thank you for watching, and I hope this was a pleasant viewing experience for you. That's an 8 box for Trafton. Oops. I said 8 box for Trafton, and I believe a 6 box for Holbrook. Yes, that is correct. That's Trafton on the head pin. Might be a strike. Its pins are still falling. He drops off with a 5. And Todd Holbrook, meanwhile, same story, but with the 7 pin. Both bowlers shooting for single pin spares. Win Trafton's is going to be difficult due to the wood, and Todd Holbrook's, it might be a similar story. It's all going to come down to how you throw the ball and probably in terms of velocity. Got plenty of discussions about how to shoot that, but it starts with hitting the pins in the first place. Win Trafton doesn't hit it. Todd Holbrook, there you go. He hit it a little bit too full on the right side of the wood. So unfortunately, not much to say about the spare situation. And Win Trafton will hit the wood. Both bowlers taking 9 boxes because Todd Holbrook fouls it. So what could have been easy single pin spares turns into 9 boxes for both of our bowlers. That should be 74 after 9 for Todd Holbrook and 96 after 9 for Win Trafton. As confirmed, we are in sync with the scoreboard. And Win Trafton, wasting no time, fires again. Spread eagle plus a friend. And I'll show you mine if you show you yours, says Todd Holbrook. He does the same thing, but has a complete spread eagle. When Trafton spread eagle minus the 7, he goes for one of the object pins, but hits on the wrong side. Todd Holbrook has slightly better luck, and pins are still falling. Wood is still rolling. Will he convert the eagle? Almost does. Left with just the 6 pin. It was a valiant attempt, and the pins appeared to be cooperative with that. When Trafton trying to do the same, but can't quite make it happen. He'll take an 8. Holbrook will take a 9. That will be it for this 5-game series for these two bowlers. 83 to 104, Trafton victorious over Holbrook in the 5th. And when Trafton finishes with a 513 5-game total, Todd Holbrook finishes with a 489 5-game total. And that will put Win Trafton at 10 points to Holbrook's 4, up in the total by 24 at the end of the match and up by 21 in the game. Meanwhile, let's say hello to Sarah Wright once again. She fires, she drops 8. Chyrel Kneeland. And she drops a strike. Another strike for Chyrel Kneeland. Lots of strikes tonight. That's what we like to see, regardless of who it is bowling. This is Class D for destruction. Sarah Wright will take a spare, keeping it competitive. Both bowlers with marks to open up the second half of the final game. 57 plus a fill for Chyrel Kneeland and 56 plus a fill for Sarah Wright in the 6th. Sarah Wright up in the total by 27. Chyrel Kneeland still up in the game by 1. I almost thought that was a bug for a second, then I realized, no, that's actually how it is. Sarah Wright filling her spare with what appears to be 6. Chyrel Kneeland, first ball of her spare fill. It's going to be a late falling 5. And Sarah Wright shooting for another spare, possibly. See if she can get it. It's possible. 1, 8, 6, 10. Doesn't matter. She takes out just 1 pin in the back row, leaving the 1, 6, 10. Chyrel Kneeland, she will fill her strike with 8 with that second ball. And Sarah Wright will attempt to take the 10 box out, but she'll get a 9. Chyrel Kneeland will take a 9 as well. 74 and 7 for Kneeland, 71 and 7 for Wright. Confirmed. 3 boxes to go before we finish this match. Again, we thank you very much for watching. Thank you for bearing with me while we deal with a couple of technical and scheduling issues on a couple of fronts, but we got through it. And we'll have a complete version of this broadcast available on Candlepin Bowling Network later on as soon as I stitch it together in the editing booth. Sarah Wright drops 6, the 3, 6, 7, 8. Chyrel Kneeland, the 2 and the 8. Sarah Wright will take one more out for the road. Chyrel Kneeland versus the 2 and the 8. Chyrel fires, and she misses to the right. The 2 and the 8 are still there. Sarah Wright versus the 3, 6, 7. Sarah will take an 8. And Chyrel will take an 8. Excuse me, it appears to be a 7 for Chyrel. Nope, it's going to be an 8. She's score correcting it now.
Yep.
Thought I had it wrong, but it's being score corrected to the one that I saw, so hey, how about that? 82 after 8 for Kneeland, 79 after 8 for Wright. And Wright fires. She's on the head pin. A little full, though. 5, 7, 8. Kneeland with a 4 drop, 5 drop, 6 drop, 7 drop, 8 drop. Possibly a 9 drop. Wow, that was a very slow-moving domino effect. So that's a 9 drop for Chyrel Kneeland, but that piece of wood is going to be deceptive. Be a difficult spare shot. Sarah Wright versus the 5, 7, 9. She missed the object wood to the right. Todd Holbrook says, sweep the leg. Couldn't quite do it. Chyrel wants a check on that piece of wood to make sure it's still good. Always good to have that sportsmanship once again. So, folks, if you liked this broadcast and you think Candlepin bowling is your thing, I got news for you. If you live in New England, there's bowling everywhere. Go to candlepin.org and click Go Bowling to find your nearest center. Look at that map and check out all of those dropped pins. If you're in the greater Boston area, or even if you're as far up as midway up through Maine, there may be a center near you. So check it out. Go to candlepin.org. Think you can bowl better than the bowlers you see here today? I challenge you. Go try it. And again, Check out youtube.com/@Candlepin Bowling Network for the Friday Night Pro League coming up this Friday on Candlepin Bowling Network. The playoffs are starting soon. And then also check out the Candlepin Corner channel on YouTube for Candlepin Skins. You might even see me pop up on that show from time to time. Sarah Wright taking out one more pin for the road, and Chyrel Kneeland with a 10. Wright with an 8. And Kneeland with a 10. And, wow, they screwed something up on the scoreboard just now. They're going to have to fix that. I think they forgot to disable ball detection or something. So, I'm going to pause for that real quick. They might ask me, there's a chance they might ask me for what the scores end up being. So, stand by. I know it's one box to go, but still stand by. We'll see how that goes. 87-92. Yep, they are caught up. We are in sync once again. One box to go. Bear with us for one box to go. Sarah Wright on lane 22. Final first ball of Sarah Wright's 23-24 Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour season is a 9-drop, and Chyrel's final first ball of the Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour 23-24 regular season, that is a 5-drop. 4, 5, 7, 8, 10 for Chyrel Kneeland, and the 7-pin and the 7-pin only for Sarah Wright. Sarah Wright is in the playoffs in the wild card spot, top seed. So we will be seeing Sarah Wright again in the playoffs. Sarah Wright will get that spare. It's a clean hit, clean spare. Final box of the regular season is a spare for Sarah Wright. Chyrel Kneeland, she can get the same thing. I would red line the double wood. And she had the right idea. She almost gets it. The ball spins right by the 7-pin, and it doesn't quite get it. And that's it. That's a 9-box for Chyrel Kneeland. 101 for Chyrel. After all is said and done, and Sarah Wright for a fill in the spare. She's at 97 plus a ball. Chyrel Kneeland at a 5-game total of 469, at least according to my count. Again, the stream score is unofficial, so that's just me keeping track. Sarah Wright filling her spare with an 8, 9, 10. A perfect fill at the end for Sarah Wright. That's a 107 for Sarah Wright. She finishes with a 5-game total of 503, averaging over 100. Todd Holbrook with a 5-game total of 489. Win Trafton with a 5-game total of 513. So Win Trafton will finish with 10 points over Todd Holbrook's 4. Win Trafton will win the total by 24 with that 513. Sarah Wright will take 12 points over Chyrel Kneeland's 2 points with a 503 total. That's 34 over Chyrel Kneeland's 469 total. So let me just show you the final stats here in a slightly different view so you can get a visualization. So Holbrook will go from 67 and 171 to 71 and 181. Trafton moving from 175 and 81 to 185 and 85. And meanwhile, we have Chyrel Kneeland going from 108 and 130 to 110 and 142, and Sarah Wright going from 144 and 94 to 156 and 96. So that will just about do it for us here for this doubleheader Class D North, the season finale of Class D North Division 1 here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. I've been Steve Kelly, and for Sarah Wright, Todd Holbrook, Win Trafton, and Chyrel Kneeland, wish you an excellent evening, rest of your week, whenever this is, and if you're watching in the future, have a great one. We'll see you at the next Atlantic Candlepin Singles Tour. Have a great one, everybody.